I do wonder what would happen if more people released this archetypal, deep, potent energy that they hold within themselves. This intense vibration that hums at the deeper levels of their soul. This energy that I refer to as the career archetype. And without the career archetype, without finding my own, I would never be here talking to you about being a philosopher. I would never be talking to anybody about how to choose the right career path with conviction. This has been one of the most important understandings I've ever had in my life. That's why I share it. That's why I tell people about it. That's why I educate people here on YouTube and Substack and on a podcast. It's why I show people how to unearth their very own career archetype. Because by coming into conscious awareness of this, it can change the entirety of your life and can help you to pursue your vocation, your sacred calling, the thing that you are put on this earth to do. So let me explain what a career archetype is and why you need it. Now, a little bit of backstory. I myself went through the pains and the hardship of not knowing what my path was. I had many different options that I wanted to go through. Oh, maybe I could pursue this. Maybe I could pursue this. Maybe I could be, do help with personal training. Or maybe I could do a little bit of writing. Maybe I could do some music. There were so many different options that I was seeing and going through. And I didn't realize that none of the options that were in front of me were actually the thing. The thing. All right, that's what we're after. Knowledge of this core question: what am I meant to do with my life? What is my purpose? What is my calling? And going through this annoyed the hell out of me. I still remember the day where I walked across the stage to receive my psychology degree, and I remember thinking, is this it? Is this all there is? I walked off the stage thinking, this is not what I want to be doing with my life. I don't want to go and pursue a master's in psychology. I don't want to go and work within a clinical practice. That's not me. And yet everything was pointing me, pushing me, prodding me to go into that direction. Right, so I had these options. I was also walking a path, even though I didn't know if I wanted to pursue that path. This is something people do all the time. They walk a path and say that they're trying to figure out the real path along the way. And what ends up happening is they end up developing the worst of paths. The paths whereby, hey, I'm just doing this internship and then suddenly I'm the team leader in some organization where I'm helping everybody on marketing and that's my role. And I'm having to do meetings all day, every day. And I don't even have time to connect in with myself. People end up developing paths, developing skills, traits, right? We all know the corporate trait. Let me circle back, right? The language. And yet that is the thing they never wanted to become. And I myself was watching how I was becoming it as well. And so walking off that stage, realizing this, and then also pursuing an insurance job, and then realizing this isn't it, this is hell, I need to get out of here, where can I go? Ended up leading me to looking at all these different interests that I have. Okay, maybe it's this one, maybe it's this one, maybe it's that one, or maybe that one or that one. And I was always trying to figure it out. But nothing struck me. Nothing hit me. Nothing told me like this is the thing. And it wasn't until I had this experience where I ended up basically bringing up the inner contents of myself. I talk about this as gathering and activating self-knowledge. And there are specific lenses that we need to look through in order to tap and prod in the right places in order to bring this stuff to surface. And what ended up happening for me is once I started to bring this to surface, oh, I'm meant to be a philosopher. And that moment completely shifted how I saw myself and how I saw my path. By unearthing my very own career archetype, I knew what my path was. I knew what I needed to do. I knew what my first steps were. Okay, and now it's time to pursue them. But until that point, I couldn't move forward because I was always, this thing. I was always very heady as well. This is another thing. If you're trying to figure out your path and you can't quite figure it out, take a note to self. Am I trying to think this through? Even am I trying to feel this through? This isn't where it's at. It's underneath. It's at the soul level. It's at the archetypal level. It's deeper. It's under the rubble. And you have to bring that stuff up in the right way. Some people will try to do, Venn diagrams, head level, right? Things that you're not even aware of, you can't tap onto at this conscious level. You have to go deeper. Now, what is a career archetype? So the first thing I want to explain is, what is a career? And we sort of have an image of a career. Hey, I'm climbing a ladder. I'm going to get to the top of this area and climb up this ladder. But the etymology, right, the word history, comes from this unfolding course. And that's the way we should think about a career. It's an unfolding course. Now it's connected to money. I'll often talk about a soul-led career so that we make sure that we put the soul at the forefront of what we do. Not money, not lifestyle. We're not doing a money-led career or a lifestyle-led career. Or a be happy career, we're putting the soul at the forefront. But a career is a course. And we can think of this as a course of events that unfold. And your career will be unfolding over time. And you'll need one in the 21st century. Now, maybe the structure of society will change in such a way where a career isn't the thing. I believe that it should be a vocation, a sacred calling, and that is the pinnacle. That's what we should all be pursuing, and that creates a radical change in the world. But at the moment, we're looking at a world that talks very much about career, and it's outdated, by the way. People are already pursuing their vocations. The world has already changed. But a lot of people still refer to this idea of career. So it's an unfolding course. Now, archetype is a very different thing. An archetype is a base level soul image. Sometimes it's referred to as the God image. Most people know archetypes because it came through Carl Jung, who was a depth psychologist who talked about these universal energies. To give you an example of some, we might think of a father and a mother. Right? These are very basic archetypal expressions. And we can say, okay, that person is a father and that person is a mother. And then we might look at these archetypes a little bit differently. We say, okay, that's a good father and a bad father, or that's a bad mother and that's a good mother. Make judgments on these archetypes. We might say that's a negligent father, or a father that really is there for his family, providing father. We might say, okay, that's a negligent mother, or that's a mother that really provides for her family. But at the core, we have an archetype. We have what we understand it to be. You can even think about your own parents. You might even conjure up images of your mother going out to the shops, going to work. And that holds the expression of that archetype for you. But all these different people have different versions of what that archetype looks like, but at its core, it's the person who gives life to someone else, nurtures that person. And so there is this pattern that is also connected to an archetype. It's a recurring pattern. And there are similar confines of all of these different recurring patterns. So to give you an image to think about, my mother always used to love rugs. She probably still does. I haven't been to her house in a while to see if she bought any new rugs. But she would roll out these rugs onto, the lounge floor. I remember always staring at these rugs because they would have recurring patterns within them. And it was always so interesting. It might go left, it might go right, there might be like a swerve, but then the pattern repeated itself. And it repeated itself, and it repeated itself. And so archetypes have this repetition to them, this commonality, this pattern to them. And so when we're thinking about an archetype, we're thinking about recurring patterns. We're thinking about a base level image. We're thinking about an energy. And so if we take that and connect the two and say, okay, career archetype, what we have is an unfolding course, an unfolding of events that is connected to a pattern and an image. Now, we know titles. Often, this is how we relate to career archetypes. We start to think, oh, okay, like this guy's a philosopher and that's his career archetype. So what's mine? Right? And we start to try to connect into these names. And naming your career archetype is a vital, important part of the process. But it's not the start. It's the end. People try to name it way too soon. You really have to understand the fullness of the energy. And oftentimes we're unaware of all these different hidden aspects of the career archetype energy itself. We're unaware of different parts of it. So naming it too early means we might lose a part of it. It doesn't mean that we can't recapture it, we can't expand ourselves in such a way where we get more information about it. But we don't want to solidify it too soon. And so we have this idea of a career archetype that lives within you. And it's about going underneath and connecting into it. One of the funny things that happens, and I did this too, when people try to know what their calling is they do things like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and do ikigai, do all these circles. But this is coming from a heady space. It assumes that you already have a totality of self-knowledge. Right? But you don't. And so you're only going to answer that from the space of self-knowledge that you have gathered so far. Meaning that you might leave out a lot of things, which is why so many people don't get the answer using a Venn diagram like that. Some people will go and they'll do personality tests, right? But the knowledge is coming at them externally. And I know this for myself because I ended up helping people to unearth their career archetype. The first way that I did this was I would go over all this research and all this analysis of them, go over it pages and pages. And I would make the assessment and I would come out and I'd present them with their career archetype. But the first challenge, right, because people would see it and they'd get it and they'd be like, whoa, this is what I'm meant to be doing. But the first challenge that happened was like, okay, now we need to get this into your internal awareness, right? Because I'm telling you it, as opposed to you coming up and seeing it for yourself internally, which is why I ended up changing the process of it all, where people now go and I get them to activate these inner parts of themselves that they can't see, so that now they know, oh, okay, I've come to my own realization of what I'm meant to be doing. That realization might be a state of revelation, a state of ecstasy, a state of like, oh, this is it. Now, some people, it's a little bit different. It's very, very quiet and it's solid, right? They come to their career archetype knowing as like, oh, that's what it is. And they venture off, and then something feels weird, and they connect back to it. It's like, okay, this is still true. I need to come back, recenter, anchor myself in what I found. And everybody experiences their unearthing differently because it depends on what the path is. But it is this base level energy that is within you that is often hidden under rubble because of conditioning, because of the way that society is set up, because of the natural challenge of evolution within your own personal soul. And so it's my belief that we're not here to be happy. I know, it sucks. I hate to break it to you. We're not here to be purely happy. We're here to develop our own soul, which means that there will be challenges, trials, tasks to overcome in order to arrive there. And a part of this challenge for some is going internally within themselves and bringing out this material to the forefront of their awareness so that they can recognize, oh, there's my career archetype right there. It was always within me. It was there the entire time. I just couldn't recognize it properly until then. That is super important to do. And so that's what a career archetype is. It's this energetic pattern that resides within your soul. It is often hidden under rubble. So why do this? Why bring this up? Why not just, continue on pursuing a job, a path that isn't you? I just want to pay the bills, right? Why not just continue to do that? I just want to have fun on the weekends. I don't want to pursue anything of meaning. Why bring this up? The reason is because you have a sacred calling. The sacred calling, your vocation, is connected to your career archetype. And that career archetype, left ignored, breeds resentment, breeds regret, festers, it rots, it wounds. It keeps you from progressing internally. Even if externally you're moving forward in life, everything's going great, according to, the eyes of others. Maybe you even tricked yourself a little bit, like everything's pretty good. Here's a big one. I kind of like my job. Right? If you added that, I kind of like it. There's pain underneath. It's like, that's not the thing, and you know it. It's like, stop it. when a child goes and reaches for like the cookies, it's like, stop it. Stop lying. You're lying because you don't want to face the pain. By facing the pain and going through it, you'll be able to confront a life that you're actually meant to lead. Leading to your own personal liberation, escaping your own prison. By unearthing your own career archetype, you'll become aware of what it is that you're meant to be doing in this lifetime. That will have a profound effect on your own life. You will grow. You will be a different person. And you will see that person and you'll be like, I feel myself. Some people experience it like coming home to themselves. Some people get very, very inspired by themselves. And it will have this ripple effect on everything that you touch. People that you work with, people that you're in relationships with, right? Because our careers are interconnected in life. It's not just work. Who do you talk to after work? Is it a friend? Is it a partner? Is it your children? How did work impact these conversations? I bet you if you had a bad day at work and you come home, suddenly you are talking in a way that is a little bit not as energized, perhaps. Maybe you try to hold it back. Right? I don't want everybody to be impacted by this, but still not there. Now imagine if you were pursuing the work that you're meant for. How does all of that change? It's profound. It changes everything. One of the things that I did early on when I was trying to understand a bit about vocations and careers was thinking, okay, how much time are we spending at work? The crazy thing that I found is that the majority of your adult life, let this sink in. The majority of your adult life is spent working. That's the society that we live in. That's what's going on at the moment. We're not free of that. And so to not pursue something that you're meant to pursue means that the majority of your mortality is pursued doing something you don't want to do, you're not called for, you're not connected to, you're not enthusiastic about, you're not going to be able to do your best work. It means that you're wasting. You're wasting your life. It's brutal. And people just ignore it. I don't want you to ignore it. This is why you need to unearth your career archetype. I'm not saying that you have to do it with me. Obviously, I'm the person that shows people how to unearth their career archetype. But you need to make this a priority to figure out what you are meant for and what at your core level you are. Because without that, well, I'm sure you can imagine what that looks like. Now, if you are interested in wanting to unearth your career archetype and learn exactly what this is for you, what your career archetype is, we've unearthed so many different ones. Things that come to mind at the moment is writer, poet, expressive alchemist, mystic, community builder. There are so many different career archetypes. Your career archetype might not even be on the list. Many people that we work with, we've got a list of over 450 plus career archetype names. Many people find out that their career archetype isn't even on the list. And if you want to know what yours is and how we actually go about bringing forward and unearthing your very own career archetype, then you can go ahead and check out the link below. I walk people through this 8-week process whereby we look at your natal chart and astrology, your Myers-Briggs. We look at the overarching life mythology that's going on with you, as well as all your different interests that you have, distilling them, getting to the core of them. We also look at your particular psychological hurdles and how to go over them. And we have some very particular techniques that we teach, one of them being action therapy. And we also look at your temptation paths that are taking you off track. So if you're interested in doing that and coming to an awareness of what your career archetype is, as well as the very first steps that you need to take so that you can make this real in the world, then go ahead and check the link below.